Thank you very much for joining the APAC webinar today. Today, APAC Marketing Product Manager Daizen Ikehara will present Introduction to Angular for ASP.NET Web Forms for Developers. During the webinar, you can ask questions from chat box on the right-hand side. Please feel free to type in any questions. Also, we are going to have a Q&A session at the end.
Hi, everybody. My name is Daizen Ikehara from Infragistics. So I'm going to give like a 45 minutes to 50 minutes talk about an introduction to Angular for ASP.NET Web Forms developers. So let me introduce myself first. I'm Daizen Ikehara, Product Marketing Manager at Infragistics. My email is here, well, my Twitter is here. So if you have any questions around this webinar, you can send a question to me directly. Also, I'm writing up the blog for this URL, bit.ly/DaizenEN, so you can see my English blog. I just started blogging for English websites, so there's not much post, but I'm gonna post stuff from today or tomorrow or something like that. So I'm with Infragistics for like 10 years. I started as a support engineer, then became the evangelist. Then now I'm leading the marketing activities for Japan as well as the APAC region right now. So today's agenda, I'm going to talk about 4 things. First one and second one for the ASP.NET Web Form developers. So if you are ASP.NET Web developers and you have been developing ASP.NET application for like 10 years or 5 years, maybe you are wondering, why should I move to the modern web development? So I'm going to give you some stats or what we see from the market, so that I want you to understand the importance of moving to next web development. Also, I'm going to talk about how to get started Angular. It's not going to be too technical, so it's going to be introduction stuff, so that at least you can start developing Angular stuff. Also, we are offering the products for the Angular, so I'm going to show some stuff from that. Again, this webinar is the plan for these audiences. So if you are ASP.NET Web Form developers looking for the insight of building modern web applications, or like developers looking to get started on building in Angular, developers who like to use our stuff. So everything is included in this webinar. Again, if you have any questions around my topic, you can free to enter your questions to the questions box, so that each section I'm going to pause and answer your question as much as I can. If I can't, I'm going to follow up with those questions. So first, I'm going to talk about the overview of modern web apps. So let's go with the history. So in 1990s, rise of web, it was the simple web stuff. So client make request, web server provides the HTML. It's static. It's very simple. You don't call that application. That's like a website or web pages. Then it became to server-side rendering stuff like ASP or like ASP.NET. So people make requests with the parameters, like entering fields, submit the stuff, then a server executes logic and returns the result. This allows you to create the web application for business stuff. So right now, a lot of the business application made by web is something like this. If you're in a sales organization, you enter customer information to the CRM, then send it to the server executes the logic and return back to their results, something like that. So this was good. Then it became the more richer way with the like a real stuff. So not only to execute logic in server side, but also that the developers have controls over the HTML, so they can do a lot of rich stuff like animations or like a DOM manipulations in a client side. So mainly, this was provided by jQuery initially, or like other frameworks. So it makes web application richer and richer and richer. And nowadays, the trend is getting to the single page application called SPA, which is the server side is having the APIs. So clients request with the parameters, server side with the API as a services returns the data itself, but not like a HTML body itself. The client side executes, well, understands the data and renders the application on client side. So this is today's web applications, or trend of today's application. So as you see the history, it's been changing. So I'm talking about this for like 20 years of history, and it's changing a lot, and it's changing rapidly. So what really happens with the SPA is that first thing, the client side is rendered by based on the data, mostly by JavaScript framework or JavaScript itself. Also, that JavaScript DOM manipulations happens. So page navigation or like a part of the page will be changed based on the request and results. So why is good about API plus SPA thing? Basically, you can lose coupling with these client and server thing. So server side can store the business logic, data input, output, data validation, authentication. Those kind of the business critical stuff can be stored in the server side. And these going to be universal or like common logic, so it can last long. Also, that client side, UI has been changed dramatically for the last 10 years, or like how you develop the web application has been changed, like you saw the history of the web. So the client side has been changing rapidly and dramatically. So if you tightly couple those two things, it's almost impossible to improve your application over the years. But if you are making like this kind of the web API services plus a client side rendering, you can change the client side very easily so that you can reuse your logic on the server side and keep up with the latest technologies. Also, this way allows you to use your logic to not only for web applications, but also the desktop application or like a mobile application. Next, I'm going to talk about the device browser things. But today's development environment is not only for the desktop PC, but also a lot of the devices. So make the server side loosely coupled allows you to move to the another platforms or like a new platforms that you need to take care of. So again, if you are ASP.NET developers, you may ask us questions, or you may ask our sales rep our questions. Why should I move from ASP.NET Web Forms to the another one? It's okay. We can maintain our application. There's no need to upgrade. So Next, I'm going to talk about the stats or environments around you guys. So first, I'm going to talk about what ASP.NET Web Forms can do for you. The good thing is easy to get started. It's a model that's similar to a BB6 or Windows Forms. You can drag and drop server-side components to the design surface or HTML surface. Also that you can wire up events. So it's very easy for developers to get started. Also, this kind of the technology makes you not necessary to know everything about the web. So I'm originally coming from the Windows Forms developer. When I entered ASP.NET Web Form development, I was kind of shocked that I don't know anything about the web, but I can create the web application. So that's how Microsoft architected web forms. But not everything is good for you guys. The cons are, since it's capsulated, you don't know everything about what the final output is. It's actually hidden, or the hidden code or hidden stuff has been added to by framework. So you don't have control over everything what you're creating. Also that in order to make the similar development model as the BB6 Windows Forms, there's a called view state, which increases your page size, which impacts your application's performance. So that you have loading unnecessary data with the ASP.NET Web Forms. That was a huge problem back in like 2006 or 5. So that Microsoft even added the option to disable this view state. But a lot of people are still relying on these kind of technologies. Also that you are kind of tightly coupled between HTML and the server-side logic. So it makes difficult to test for your web applications. So there are pros and cons for everything. So it was okay when back in like 2005 or something like that, because the foreign stuff. So ASP.NET Web Form came out in 2002, and the primary target was Windows and IE. At that time, IE was dominant. Like I would say like 90% of the browser share was IE. So there was no Chrome, no Firefox, no iPhone, no Android. So you only care about Windows and IE. So that's why the ASP.NET Web Forms worked well, because almost all enterprise personal computers are Windows and uses IE. So if you adapt with IE and Windows, that's everything. You don't have to worry about anything else. So I'm showing stats from the service called netmarketshare.com. This gives you the idea what's the market share for each browser or each OS or like a type of the desktop versus mobile. So surprisingly, or you have already known that fact, IE is no longer that dominant for the web browser. I wasn't expect that this low numbers, but I was kind of shocked as well. Right now, Chrome is like a 59 to 60% of the market share for desktop browser, 12 to 30% for Firefox. IE is only for 12 to 30%. Also, that the successor of the IE is Edge, but still only has 3 or 4% browser share. So I would say Microsoft browser only has like a 15%, 16% of the desktop browser as of today. So I said, ASP.NET Web Form was targeted for Windows and IE. So if you are only targeting those browsers, you only cover like a, 1 out of 5 or something like that. It's actually true for me. I started using Firefox when it came out in 2004, and my work, I use Chrome, Firefox, and I only use this IE when I need to, which is the my company's internal application, and some feature only works with the IE. That's the place I have to use IE, but everything else I usually use Chrome or Firefox. Probably you are the same thing, or your customers will be the same thing. There's a choice of the browsers. They want to use your application in the other browsers. Another thing is that you need to take care about not only for desktop, but also the devices as well. So these are the device types, starts from the netmarketshare.com. Right now, January in 2018, desktop is 52%, mobile is the 42%, tablet is the 5%. So it's almost a one-to-one match between the desktop versus others. So if your company or your business is only targeting Windows and IE, free ASP.NET web forms can be used for longer time. But if your business is for like a consumer business, or like your users request not other browsers than IE, then you may need to think about that. So the conclusions on here is that your web applications need to support multiple browsers. Your web applications need to support multiple devices. Also, since the client-side rendering or like a SPA kind of things, web applications are getting richer and richer. So that if you are sticking with the classic, the web application, it's going to lose your competitive stuff. So today's world is very difficult, and I wouldn't say that ASP.NET web forms cannot be one of the frameworks that you can achieve the goal to support the multiple browsers or multiple devices, but it's going to be difficult. Microsoft is even not investing money on the ASP.NET web forms for years. So I would say that the web forms is legacy right now. So you may be okay with the current business, but in like 3 to 5 years, you may lose your business if you are sticking with the ASP.NET web forms. So that's the first part of the my topic. So you saw that market share for the browsers, market share for the tablets, devices. So it's a time to change, or time to use the move on to the next modern web applications. Any questions so far on this topic? Okay. So I hope you kind of get ideas why you should move to the next modern web development. I'm going to share the landscape of the JavaScript framework and the libraries. So it's getting a fun topic. So as I mentioned about the SPA, you are requesting the HTTP get post method. Then you get data from the server, so that the client side needs to render from the data. So a lot of libraries are used or available for you to use rendering UIs or manipulating DOM on the client side. So I'm showing there some logos from the libraries. So there are tons of the libraries available in the market. It came out, then it disappears pretty rapidly. So that the important thing is that you need to choose the right framework or right libraries which last long. So let's see the statics as well. So first, I'm going to show the stats for the major frameworks, I'd say. So like a jQuery, AngularJS, Angular Self, React.js, Vue.js. Those are, the variety of types of the frameworks, libraries, not one-to-one much, but you may have heard of those library names. So let's see the worldwide stats. So blue one is the jQuery trend. As you see the trend, it's getting lower and lower for the last 5 years. Instead of that, you see a yellow one is the next one, is the Angular. So it's getting popular. Also the AngularJS, it was popular until the Angular 2 came out. So, and also that there is a small number of the trends for the React.js, Vue.js. Also the last 12 months trial, that's almost the same thing. The jQuery, first one is jQuery, the second one is the Angular itself. Also, here's other stats. So this is from the Stack Overflow, the most famous Q&A site for the development. And there's a blog post about the, these statics just made last month. So if you are interested in that, please look at the billow's link. So first chart is the major the frameworks that Stack Overflow thinks. So the last, I don't know, 8 years, yeah, jQuery went popular, then falls down. Also that AngularJS went up popular in 2016 and getting falling down. Also the Angular and the React.js is getting popular as well. So it's the same thing as the Google Trends. People are started using their popular frameworks, but at some point, that those libraries are going to be legacy and no longer, a lot of people are getting rid of those frameworks. So you need to see what's going on with the trends, or you need to see what's going on with the what's the popular and what's not. Also, the next chart is the smaller frameworks, which Stack Overflow says. So a lot of the names like a Vue, Backbone, Ember, Node.js, and something. So the trend of these small browsers, frameworks, are pretty significant. You see that some year it was hot, the next year it's suddenly not popular anymore. So just let me say that again. JavaScript frameworks are pretty much a lot of the JavaScript frameworks. So you need to see the trend. You need to monitor the trend after you started using or before you started using. Because if you make wrong decision, what's the result is that you cannot find the developers who uses those frameworks your choice. So again, this is some insights from the stats. So if you are looking at the JavaScript framework, right now jQuery for DOM, all the people are still using for their own work or like maintaining existing applications. But I would say that not many people are using jQuery for the new projects. Angular is speaking the AngularJS. So AngularJS is the version 1 of the Angular. There are two different frameworks. So version 2 beating version 1. Now AngularJS was announced to be a LTS, which stands the long-term support. So AngularJS will be ending in year of 2021. So if you are using AngularJS right now, it's the best time to move on to the Angular 2 or 4 or 5. Also, what we see trend or what we heard from the customers, React seems to be getting popular over the world. So people are asking about React, or people are starting using React. So we need to see the trend of the React this year again and see if it's going to be popular or not. So I shared with the stats, then now I have to answer the question, what JavaScript framework should I choose, or should you choose? What I rephrase that, what JavaScript framework will be last for like 5 years? My answer is there's none. Because now 5 years ago, jQuery was dominant. Then we didn't know what we are kind of seeing. We are seeing the rise of the Angular, but after 5 years, Angular is getting popular. React is getting popular, but in 5 years, I cannot guarantee that Angular is going to be the first one, or majority of the choice of the JavaScript framework. So unfortunately, there's no right answer. So as I said, you need to monitor the trend. You need to see what the community says, what the actual applications are made by which framework constantly, and make assessments. But I can share our company's choice. I wouldn't say this is the right choice for something, but we made a decision to invest those frameworks back in time, and right now we are investing this. So when we started creating modern web development UI framework, we chose jQuery because the market needed jQuery components, or jQuery was dominant. Also that we were doing business for the .NET users, like ASP web form users, so that we made a decision to support ASP MVC, which is similar to ASP web forms in some part, so that ASP web form developers can use their own skills to create modern web applications. Today, we are still supporting jQuery as well as the ASP MVC. So if you are ASP web form developers and would like to use the C# knowledge or VB knowledge, you can still use those skills to create modern web applications with our components. Also, we saw a lot of the framework when came out and getting popular. So we created extensions to support those frameworks, like TypeScript, Node.js, or AngularJS, Angular, React. So with these extensions, you can use our jQuery-based component in each framework, or each language or something like that. Now we made a decision to invest Angular based on what we are seeing from the market. People are asking, or people want to create Angular applications, which is not using extension. So last November, I think we released Angular native components for first version, and we are going to improve the features, capabilities, or tooling around that. So if you are not confident with your decision, you can check with the component vendor's decision, because it's most likely we are looking at the market share or like a market demands from the customers. So we hear a lot of other complaints or requests, and we respond that. So these are our choices, and right now we are investing Angular pretty much. So this is the landscape of the JavaScript framework, January 2018. Do you have any questions or comments around this topic? Okay, let me go through with that. So as I said, we are investing our resources to Angular. So I'm gonna show, I'm gonna introduce the how to get started at Angular. So we have like a 20 minutes left, so it's not going to be too technical, more like a conceptual thing. So, but at least you can have idea how to get started. So, what is Angular? Angular is the platform that makes it easy to build applications with the web. This is the statement from the Angular.io, which is the official side of the Angular. So Angular is a framework. Angular is a platform that helps you to create modern web applications. History of Angular. So it originally came out in 2012. Then 2016, Angular 2 came out. So there is a huge gap between AngularJS and Angular 2. And as I said, AngularJS went to the long-term support. So my recommendation is to use Angular 2, 4, 5. And right now, the most recent version is Angular 5. So I suggest that you start using that version if you are starting the new project right now. And the Angular used to be a pretty first versioning apps kind of things. So they got complaints from market or customers. So they made a guideline or standards when to start the new version and when to start support all the versions. So right now, Angular increases their versions every 6 months. And after that, it gets to the 1 year long-term support. So right now, it's January 2018. So Angular 4 is already in long-term support. Also, the Angular 5 is available right now, and in April, Angular 6 is coming out. So after the LTS timeframe, you don't get fixes, or you could have the security issues. So the Angular team is recommend you to upgrade from older version to new versions. So far, Angular 4, 5, 6 are pretty similar versions. So there's not much breaking changes, but you need to be aware of those changes as well. Also, Angular relies on a lot of the tools, languages, or other frameworks. So the structure of the project would be very complicated. So my recommendation is to use the Angular CLI if you are starting the new Angular applications. So the Angular CLI is a tool made by Angular team that makes it easy for you to get started. So it downloads everything from internet, whatever you need to use to build Angular applications. So let me open up with the my Visual Studio Code. So this is the free tool you can download from Microsoft website. This is Electron based, so you don't have to acquire the licenses or like a commercial license from Microsoft. You can use this application for free. So let me go with the let me create the new Angular applications. So nz new my AG app. As I said, this is the Angular CLI command. So as you see that, it fetches the necessary libraries or dependencies from the internet and creates the first initial applications for you. So in order to use this Angular CLI, you have to have two things. One is the Node.js is installed. Another one is the included in Node.js, but npm. But if you have that, I strongly recommend to use this tool because I'm going to show the structure of this boilerplate application. It's pretty complex for me, and I don't have confidence that creating the new application without these Angular CLI tools. But it's better for you to learn what's inside of the this boilerplate project, because that if any problem occurs, you need to troubleshoot by your own. So I recommend that you take a look, or you search with the website, internet website, what's needed for the Angular itself. So this takes some time. Let me open up the folder. So this is work in progress, but you see a lot of the folders. So everything is created by this Angular CLI tool. So it takes some time. It has the node modules folder, which is the dependencies for these Angular applications. So each one folder is kind of the dependencies that this application relies on. Oh, these are a lot. So while we are waiting, let me go with the slides, then I get back to this application. So I'm going to go over the basic fundamentals of the Angular architecture, but I really recommend that watch this video to get started, to learn the details. This is done by our another product marketing manager, DJ, last year, which is a step-by-step getting started with Angular 4, but it applies to the Angular 5 as well. So if you are getting started, I really recommend that you to take a look from these videos. Also that he has the recap post answering questions from the audience, so that some question may be useful for you to clear up the initial questions for the Angular developer. So still, okay. So this is going to be very detailed about the architecture kind of things. So I'm going with the one by one and showing some examples. So Angular is containing the modules. So the feature set or libraries that you need to import to the Angular applications. So the Angular supports the modules, and you can manage the each modules. Also, there's a concept called the components, which is the made by class, which has these capabilities. Basically, whenever you have the parts inside the application, it can be components, and which has their own features implemented. So basically, you are going to create your components, and you embed that to the application and run the application with those components. Also, that there's template, which is the view definition. So in the components, there's a logic, and also there's a template that you show the UI. So it's actual markup with that. So these ones has header, paragraph, and list, something like that. Also, that inside of the component for component, there's a metadata, so you can set the the necessary properties for the to make it work. So I'm really going first with this concept. So for this webinar, you probably wonder what's inside or what's the detail. My suggestion is to remember those keywords, I mean header lines, and watch up the DJ's video, which explains the from beginning to the end. So you learn what's actually working. Also, one of the best features provided the Angular is the data binding, which is the value from component to the actual HTML without writing code. So like without writing logic or like event handling kind of things. So you can embed your data into HTML like these examples, like these brackets. So this is pretty strong feature. Also, there's a directive. So you can use these directives to manipulate DOM, or like as I said, embedding the data into your UI, or you can create a custom directive by your own. Also, services is available, which is the common logic in application. So, like services is going to be like a business logic of client side, or like a logging or authentication, communication things. So if you have the common features, then you can use these kind of you can create these kind of services. Then Angular also supports the dependency injection. This is if you have done these kind of programming, you are similar to with that. Basically, you don't have to initialize the class or instances by your own. If you declare that this class needs to this and this and this, then DI staff creates instance for you, which reduces the bugs, or which reduces your cost to maintain instances. So this is a best practice for programming, object-oriented programming, and Angular supports it. So I highly recommend that you learn dependency injection first, the concept itself first, then you learn about how Angular DI works. By the way, for WPF, there's a library called Prism, which also uses these kind of dependency injection as a feature. So this is a pretty good feature that you can take advantage of. Let me go through with that. So this is the pretty big picture of the architecture, and there are a lot of the keywords I mentioned today. Unfortunately, there's no time to go over the dive into the deep in this webinar, but yeah, you can start learning about those kind of concepts. So let me go back with the Angular CLI stuff. So now I can move to the my Angular app. Oh, sorry. What I did. Yeah, my Asia. Yeah, so here. Serve. So actually, I was creating this application. So I started my first Angular application. when you open the local host. You see the this application. Welcome to app. So this is the boilerplate application, which has everything that you need to use for your Angular applications. So let's take a look at the source code. So in this application folder, there's a name called source SRC folder, and this app folder has the a lot of the app component, CSS, HTML, spec.ts, app component TS, app module TS. So this file includes the concept that what I just talked. So let me go over with the app module TS. So these are importing modules here. Also that this one here, this component uses the this selector. Also that UI is here. So app.component.html. So the actual view is defined here. So welcome to title, which means which is going to be app. Also that these UIs defined. So let me change with this data itself. So the right now title is app. So IG Angular app. Then save it. You see the change. So this allows you to the store data inside the client side and doing some calculation and make back it to the UI. With the data binding, you can get the data from the users and the executed logic and getting back to the result to the UI as well. So again, I went to very quickly about the concept of the Angular. And if you want to learn stuff, I really recommend that you watch these videos, this video, and also the blogs. DJ has actually posted a lot of the Angular detailed posts. So if you have encountered any problems, you may find that answers for that. So these are the overview architecture of the Angular. Any questions did we receive? Okay, I've got a question. This not specifically for the topic, but yeah, I'm gonna share this presentation to our either the services or you can download this PowerPoint from our website. So I'm gonna write up the following up blog, and you can download this presentation from the link. So we have 5 to 10 minutes left. So the last one, I'm gonna introduce our offerings for those Angulars. So I've been talking about general topic about why you should move to the modern web applications, as well as the JavaScript landscape for January 2018. Also that I talked about the Angular overview very quickly. And the last one is our offerings. So these are the history of the web frameworks. As I said, there are a lot of the JavaScript frameworks or platforms available. We kept up with the popular frameworks like ASP Web Forms, jQuery, Node.js, or React, Angular. So we have been providing these capability to the market. And today, Ignite UI is the one you want to take a look for the modern web application development. There are two products included in this Ignite UI brand. So I'm gonna explain one by one. So Ignite UI for JavaScript is the jQuery-based enterprise-ready touch-enabled HTML JavaScript application components, so that it includes the data grid, chart, schedule, spreadsheet, very rich features, and it's well work with the desktop browsers, not only for IE but also Chrome, Firefox. So if your primary target is still desktop application, and also that you want to have the rich UI controls, probably Ignite UI for JavaScript is the one you want to take a look. Even if you don't use Angular, you can use our components with the jQuery. If you're using Angular or React, we have the extension to support that, so that you can still use those components. So right now, this Ignite UI for JavaScript supports ASP MVC, Bootstrap, Node.js, AngularJS, Angular, React, and TypeScript. Another one is that Ignite UI for Angular. This is a 100% Angular code base. So this is working with the Angular natively. So it's not like a bridging stuff, like a extension. It's a pretty pure Angular component that you can use. Also, this is a dual license. So open source to the GitHub, so you can use the components for non-commercial use. Also that it has data grid capability. Also that coming out this spring, we're gonna add business charts. So right now, I would say that if you are working with on the Angular application, targeting the mobile device, this is the one you want to take a look. So right now, more than 30 widgets, which supports material UI, like a grid, carousel, list view, button, badges. So this is available right now. So to summarize our offerings in terms of the products, I would say you choose product with your needs. Ignite UI for JavaScript, again, it's jQuery components. Also that it actually includes Ignite UI for Angular. So if you are not sure which products you should choose, I recommend to use or purchase Ignite UI for JavaScript, which has two types of the products. If you are absolutely sure that you are going to stick with the Angular and you want to create native Angular applications, I would recommend that use Ignite UI for Angular. So right now, these are two different types of products offerings. Also, like Angular CLI, we do have CLI tool for you to get started with our components. So that is called the Ignite UI CLI. You can install from this GitHub. It has the install command, like an npm install Ignite UI CLI, and there's a wizard or like asking questions which type of the application you want to use, and it creates the application basic boilerplate for you, so you can get started with our components very quickly. So my last demo would be showing this tool. So let me just stop this application here, and I'm going back to the right here. So the Ignite UI CLI is kicked by IG command. Then first, this asks the name of the application. So let me go with the IG JS app. Then it's like old days, like in 90s or 80s. You can move your cursor with the selection. So first you choose the framework. So let me choose the Angular. Then next is the which product you choose. The first one is the Unite UI for Angular, so it's going to be pure 100% Angular components. Next one is the wrappers. This is the what I said was extensions. So Unite UI for JavaScript with the Angular extensions. So the either one you can choose that. So let me choose the Unite UI for Angular. Then you have the option that you added component to this project, or you can add a view to this project. What's the difference between two of them? One is the component means you can add references, dependencies, and the basic logic or like a settings for the component that you choose. The view is more like a completed application or completed page, so which has more features but may not be applicable for your application. So let me add these two. Right now it supports grades, so add into a grade. So my grade. Then view called awesome grade. I'm not sure what's the awesome what's awesome for this grade, but awesome grade. Then complete. After you enter complete, it kicks the process to generating the boilerplate templates. Also that downloading the necessary files from the website, internet, and creates the basic application. So it may take some time. So I think I have created the this IG Angular app here. It's the same settings. So let me open up the PowerShell. Then this code. CD, IG Angular app. Let me try with this command. So IG start command is starting the application. Right now it's the Angular application, so it's just called the ng start command. Then let me open up with the here. Oh. Yeah, right now I'm running two commands here, so I'm not sure which one is faster than the other one. So let's see what output is. Okay. The last one, still. Let me check with the internet connection. Okay, yeah, I have the internet connection, so it should be fine. Let me just stop that. And oh, actually, it's running. Okay, good. So localhost here. Okay, yeah, it's getting up. So my machine was kind of sleeping. So hopefully, yeah, this came out. So the order was different, but as you remember that I added to the grade as a component. then view as the awesome grade. So name a little bit different, but when you click that, you see the our grade, Angular grade here. So it has pages capabilities. Or the awesome grade has the templates, which has more richer view. It's like this kind of the filter, or like the live updating kind of things. So like you saw that you don't have to worry about the adding dependencies or loading references. You can use this Ignite UI CLI to get started for everything. Then you add it to the new views or like components, pages, and start writing your own applications. Okay. Let me show another one. I think oh yeah, it's actually coming up. So let me just clear this one. You remember that you can choose the Ignite UI for JavaScript. So this is the another example for the Ignite UI CLI. So IGJS app. Okay. Not yet. Wait. Yeah, this is a different one. So UI app. Let me try with this one. Oh, actually, this is the right one. So if you are using Ignite UI for JavaScript, you can see the examples created by the Ignite UI CLI, which has this kind of the richer capability, and this is suitable for the desktop applications. So you can do, you can create an application like this, or like you can check with our one of the shirts, or you can check with our Ignite UI JavaScript grade. So this Ignite UI CLI tool is pretty powerful. And if you are getting started, I really recommend that you take a look about this tool and learn about how to use this tool and get started of our components with the application you would choose. Oops. Yeah. So this is the end of my session. So I'm going to share with you some resources that you can take a look. So if you want to learn about Angular, then I recommend that you go to the Angular main site. Also, that I already introduced the video. It's more going to be technical, and you can learn about one-on-one stuff for the Angular step by step. So I recommend that you take a look at the video. Also, that there's a blogs Angular tag with our community site. You can check with the a lot of useful topics with that. And if you are interested in our components, this Ignite UI Angular product page is the one you may want to take a look. Then if you're using the components for the non-commercial use, you can check with the Ignite UI GitHub so that you can install the components to your site. So yeah, get started today. As I said, it's free for non-commercial use, but in order to get support, you need to enter these forms so that our specialists can support you for any problems that you encounter. So please go to the website and fill in the form. So this is the end of my session. If you have any questions, it's about 12 or 7, but I can stay with here for like 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any questions, please let me know. Or you can send the questions to the sales@infragistics.com. Okay. Again, thank you for joining today's webinar. I hope you get something from this session, especially if you are sticking with the ASP web forms, and hopefully you have some insights about moving to the next modern web development. Again, thank you again, and if you have any questions, please let us know. We are pleased to help you assist you about your next development. Thank you.